The dawning of a new era in CSB sports.
We're so awesome that even our school wants us. You got to come on here. AllNoiseRadio.com, baby. We need your support. We appreciate your support. Look forward to our show every week.
Bringing you a wide variety of topics in the world of sports.
Hockey.
I like the new icing rules as well. A great move by the NHL doing that.
You know, the Penguins still have all that talent. Their goaltending kills them.
Basketball.
They get that Eastern Conference #1 seed, and everything's got to go through Conseco Fieldhouse. I think it's going to be tough to knock them off.
The Miami Heat are the two-time defending champions, but I think their road's going to be very hard to get back to the finals for the 4th straight year.
Baseball.
Money's not an issue for Derek Jeter. Money's not an issue for Alex Rodriguez. Money's not an issue for Sabathia. Money's not an issue for Mark Teixeira, but Robinson Cano, ooh, not our best player. Can't pay him. I don't like calls like this. This is ridiculous. It's bad for baseball, but you know what? Bud Selig's bad for baseball. Ruggies, they essentially let their best player walk for a far inferior ball player in Jacoby Ellsbury.
Football.
Peyton Manning kind of answered the skeptics there. Didn't play well in the cold in New England. Do that with running the ball, getting first downs, sustaining drives, and let him get cold on the bench.
Well, you can't tell me he was trying to protect the field goal, because there's no way you're kicking the field goal into the win from the 40.
That's a team I predicted to go to the playoffs, and they're sitting at 0-2, and they're in total disarray. You know, but at the same time, they're 10 seconds away from being 2-0.
6 goal-to-go plays in the first half and no passes into the end zone.
Come on. The most amazing stat that I saw this Dallas' defense, they forced 4 turnovers and still lost the game.
Get ready.
We work hard. We love sports.
The knowledge.
I just want to make you look bad, Ruggs, because you always make me look bad with your sports intellect.
The passion.
Hey, Jimmy, you're going to be the best-looking guy in the unemployment line, buddy. What a disgrace.
It's the Zuki and Ruggs Show on All Noise Radio.
Live from the CSB studios in Stratford, Connecticut, it's the Zuki and Ruggs Show, covering a wide variety of topics in the world of sports. I'm Ruggs, and I'm here with my partner Zuki, and as I called it, the old soothsayer, Ruggs says, Heat in 6, it goes in 6. He says, Spurs in 6, they go in 6. We go, Rangers in 6. They go in 6. And last night, I called a 3-1 comeback of the Blackhawks to take it in 7, and all right.
Well, you can't have everything.
3 out of 4 ain't bad. Didn't Meatloaf say that or something? Somebody said. I said it. I don't know. So I'm going to bring in my partner now, Zuki, who is going to tell me why. Oh, why can't a home team win a Game 7 in the NHL playoffs? Or why I think the better team in that series ended up winning, because I think the Kings were more physical. But what's your take on it?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why home teams can't win Game 7s.
It's crazy.
You play all year for that, and to not be able to close out a series in your own building is got to be the most disheartening feeling in the world. It's really mystifying, bro. I don't think there is an answer for it. It's not. It can't be the crowd. The crowds are into these Game 7s.
Jumped them 2-0 early. I mean, the place was bonkers.
Yeah. No, it's just a matter of, hey, man, players play. Players play. It doesn't matter where you play, and you know the better team usually wins. And we're kind of seeing that in this season, this postseason, I should say. It really is really mystifying to me. You know, you got the Rangers who won Game 7 out in Pittsburgh, Montreal and Boston, and now last night with the Kings and Blackhawks in Chicago. I was fully convinced Chicago was going to win Game 6 last night. And then again, I was fully convinced the Kings were going to take Game 6. Game 6 Game 7, I'm sorry.
No
Game
problem.
6 in L.A., you know, I was fully convinced of that. So, you know.
And they went ahead.
It's tricky.
Zook, with 2 quick goals in the third and took the lead. You think right then it's over.
Right.
And then the Blackhawks respond and get 2 goals. You figure they get out of there with a win. All the momentum in the world. They jump them 2 goals in the first right off the bat. 2-0. You got to think, you know.
It's over.
It's over.
Throw in the
Stick
towel.
a fork in him.
Yep.
And, maybe Jonathan Quick's going to get yanked. I mean, all these things are going through your mind. And I don't know if Crawford lets up. I don't know if the defense, we've talked about it in this series, they've been a little soft.
They have been, yeah.
The team as a whole was soft. You know where I really saw a big turning point? It was still Blackhawks. They were up 3-2, I think, in the second but there was a couple of moments when the scoring finally calmed down because it was 3-2 after one, and there was only one goal in the second. There was 2 or 3 instances in the second period where I just saw Kings just level guys on the Blackhawks. They were bloodied up.
Yep.
They were coming off the ice.
That's right.
I mean, I just said, wow, I know it's 3-2 Blackhawks, but the tide's turning toward L.A. If they can get this thing tied, it's going to be really dangerous for Chicago because they're starting to wear down under the barrage of the L.A. Kings. And I'll tell you right now, the way to looking forward, and we're going to win in a little bit, I think the Blackhawks would not have been able to match up as well against the Rangers the way they hit and are physical as maybe the Kings can. I mean, it's going to be a brutal finals, but we'll get into that later. Mm-hmm. But I think that was the turning point and the telltale difference because going in this regular season, it really meant nothing because LA struggled all year to score, and they go out and put 5 goals on the road in Game 7. So go figure there.
Right. 5 goals in 1 period in Game 2.
Exactly, and you're looking at the Blackhawks who basically with all that Stanley Cup playoff experience that we talked about and winning and guys that have won it before get spotted a 2-goal lead at home and can't hold it.
Yeah, it's crazy, Ruggs.
You just don't know what to make of it.
Well, Ruggs, all your points were right on point, bro. Good job with that. I agree with you. I came in with the same thing. You saw the Kings just hitting them and laying them out, and I came in with the same conclusion that the Kings were just more physical and I don't want to say they wanted it more. I just think they had more energy. I think the Blackhawks really ran out of gas. Now they kicked it into reserve after being down 3-1 and were able to, pull off a wonderful, an epic Game 5 victory in double OT. Then I thought they were dead to rights. The Kings had the lead with about 11 minutes to go in Game 6, and I thought the Kings had it. I said, okay, the Kings are getting ready to go to the final, and boom, the Blackhawks once again kicked it into second gear in the third period, and were able to steal a Game 6 on the road.
And Kane with an all-world goal there to win that thing. Did you see that?
Yes.
With his whirling dervish and the shot at the net.
He's unreal. Patrick Kane, I know I buried him here with the missed penalty shots during the Olympics, and I'm not a big fan of his, but he is just an amazing player. I mean, he's top. I mean, I don't want to say 5, but he could be. I mean, he's right there. I mean, he's a top player in the league. Phenomenal goal scorer, phenomenal player. And it was a great series. Gary Bettman was on with Mike Francesa earlier today, and I was listening to that, and he's excited, and he should be. I think it's been one of the most exciting NHL playoffs I can recall.
It really has.
And that series was just epic. I mean, that was through and through an amazing series. I wouldn't actually mind having a DVD set of each game, to be honest with you. I'd love to just watch each game again. Really just great hockey between 2 championship caliber teams, and only one could come out, and it took overtime at Game 7, and it was the Los Angeles Kings, who will be going for their second Stanley Cup championship in 3 seasons. And Ruggs, who are they going to play?
They got the New York Rangers, and we'll rewind a little bit because we were on air before that series actually finished with the Canadiens, and the Rangers did, in fact, need 6 games to finish it off. And, it was Montreal, give them credit.
Yeah, no surprise there.
No surprise, but with
Tokarski,
a rank amateur green rookie there, they were able to push them for 6 games, and it's not the kids' fault they didn't win Game 6. I mean, 1-0 against Lundqvist in a mano-a-mano battle there at the Garden. You can't give them.
No, they couldn't gain entry into the zone. The Rangers defensively, Ruggs, played about as well as I can recall. I mean, Montreal could not get into the zone. I mean, they were like the Great Wall of China. I mean, they really were unreal. I guess the Great Wall of Manhattan or something. I guess what you'd call them, the Garden Wall. I mean, Lundqvist faced 18 shots, bro. I mean, even he came out on the radio and the next day and said, I didn't have to do much. And anytime you hear your goalie say that, That's a good sign. I mean, the Rangers defensively were just dominating in Game 7. I was thoroughly impressed. Game 7 came. Game 6. I keep saying, oh, jeez. Game 6 came, and they needed a victory at home. They didn't want to go back to Montreal. You could see they didn't.
Yeah, because then it gets a little dicey.
Oh, yes.
Lundqvist had an awful game in Game 5.
Right.
Got yanked. They got beat 7-4, and what was a crazy game because the Rangers still almost looked like they were going to come back and win it.
Yep.
They're just on one of those rolls where you see it in other sports, and hockey included, where some teams, the Kings a couple years ago, they just get on these rolls, and it doesn't seem like it matters what kind of game. Even if they get down 3-0 right out of the chute, you feel they're going to come back and win.
Yeah.
And whether it's a 1-0 game or a 7-6 game, they can win any type of game. And right now, that's what the role the Rangers are on.
Yeah, absolutely. The Rangers are on some kind of magic carpet ride here. I think they're a very talented team. I'd hate to use the term team of destiny. I've heard that, being, kicked around, and the Rangers being labeled as such. Yeah. They're better than that. They're not some 8 seed.
Right. There hasn't been any miracles that they've needed to win. They've earned every win. They've gone out and
they've got
it done.
Exactly, Ruggs. I mean, when you have the best goalie in the league, you're no team of destiny. You're no, magic carpet ride, please. And you've got some championship caliber players on that club as well. They have come out of nowhere seemingly. I mean, they were in a conference with Boston and Pittsburgh, and Detroit. I mean, even though Detroit wasn't your typical Detroit, but there's some great teams in the Eastern Conference that were in the playoffs, and we really kind of no one really paid much attention to the Rangers. They were kind of an afterthought, and now they're in the forefront. They're no longer an afterthought. And for the first time in 20 years, the Rangers are in the finals. I'm excited. I'm not even a Ranger fan in my personal life.
Me too, and I can't believe it's been that long.
20 years. I remember that like yesterday. Bro, where were you? Do you remember where you were when they won that game 7?
I do. I was at my college orientation.
Wow. I was at a buddy's house. He was a big Ranger fan, and I just remember we were watching it on some like 13-inch TV. I swear to God, it just tells you how much, technology has changed.
Yeah, I had a Walkman, and I was listening to it on the AM dial on the Walkman up in the dorm at UConn.
Yeah, kids, appreciate the technology you have now. Really, I mean, some of the stuff we were using, it's amazing. I watched Mark Messier hoisting up the Stanley Cup on nothing bigger than a monitor. I mean, it really was, and it was like his TV in his room. I mean, and I saw it clearly, I guess, but that's why my eyes are so bad now. I used to watch small TVs.
People don't remember how many great players were on the ice for both those teams in that series.
Oh, Vancouver and the Rangers
players.
Oh, yes. I mean, but you seemingly had the whole Edmonton team from the 80s on that 94 team. You had Messier, you had Kevin Lowe, you had who's the other one? The other guy in the you had Lowe.
Was Curry on that team? Or
I want to say he was, but I don't know if he was or not. I think he was.
Because he was on the Kings with Gretzky, but I thought he also went to the Rangers. I thought he was kind of like in that deal.
I think he was. I think Curry was there.
And then, of course, you had Brian Leach.
He was on that.
Richter was in there. You had,
we had those guys. I think there was another Edmonton Oiler on that team, another defenseman, I want to say. I forget. It escapes me. I don't have the 94 roster in front of me, but
then
that was a great team.
You had Trevor Linden and Pavel Bure on the Canucks.
Yeah, a young Alex Kovalev on the Rangers, who was tremendous for them.
That's right.
He was tremendous for them. That was actually
saved him in that Devils series.
Yeah, he did.
Got him out of that because people don't forget they had to play an epic series right before.
Oh, yes.
Against the Devils. I mean, the Devils were nasty also.
That's one of the greatest Eastern Conference finals ever. It really is. It's still to this day.
Absolutely.
The 94
and
Eastern
a great Stanley Cup finals, a great playoff. That was what I think was like the rebirth of the NHL. I think that year really kind of kicked the NHL up into the forefront. And then it had tapered off, and now I think it's getting back. People are getting excited about it.
Yeah, it's come full circle, Ruggs. And the thing about this finals that people don't realize, this final should have happened 2 years ago.
I agree because I thought the Rangers were better than that New Jersey team.
They were. It just came down to coaching and a lack of offense for the Rangers. They just couldn't score. And Lundqvist did have a bad Game 5. I'm sorry. Lundqvist was bad. That game, it was 2-2, Game 5 in the Garden, and he was bad. He had a bad game, and the Devils took the 3-2 series lead, and then wrapped it up, Game 6 in Jersey. But yeah, this series should have occurred 2 years ago. And how, wouldn't you know, poetic justice, we're getting it now. It's, it's kind of the way life works sometimes. Things come full circle. You just got to be patient. And now Ranger fans, you forget about 2 years ago. You're in the finals for the first time in 2 decades. Congratulations. I'm so happy for a lot of my friends who are Ranger fans. I was actually watching the game with a good friend of mine who's a Ranger fan. He was so excited. I was excited for him. I really like what the Rangers have done here. They've built a nice team here. Yeah, good thing. Good things happen to those who wait. The Rangers have waited a long time. 20 years is a long time to wait, and it's here. You're in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's going to be rocking, man.
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a great series. Yeah. Ruggs, let's get to it. We've got a couple minutes here. Let's go. I guess we got a little time for predictions. Break it down, buddy.
Yeah,
what you got?
And I was going to tease it a little, and I didn't even want to. I just want to get right into it. I just said I believe it was 2 episodes ago, but it could have been last week, that I never pick anything to go 7 before it starts, because it doesn't sound like it almost seems like a cop-out. I'm taking a 7-game series in this one. It's just that kind of series. Yeah. And the way this playoffs is gone, the way this team plays on the road, I'm taking the Rangers in 7. I think Game 7 on the road will not faze them at all, and we've seen evidence from the Rangers and from 3 or 4 other instances in this year's playoffs where it has not mattered 1 ounce.
Right.
But I like the Rangers. Like you said, I think their up-the-middle defense is just brutal. It's just tough to get through. The Kings, one thing that they really slightly deficient is speed up the middle. They don't have that breakaway. They don't have the guy that's going to cut through the middle on that defense. So they're going to work like they did very well in the Chicago series, where they came up and they used Doughty to basically carve the Blackhawks apart side to side. I think it's going to be tough to do that to the Rangers because they're more physical. Mm-hmm. They stand you up at the blue line. And I think the big difference is you got Lundqvist, who, Crawford and Quick is a good matchup. I like Quick slightly more than Crawford, and I thought that was an advantage for LA. I think Lundqvist now especially seems to have shaken some of the demons he's had in the past. Mm-hmm. I think talent-wise, push comes to shove, he's the most talented guy going right now, and I give them a big edge because of that. Wouldn't be surprised if each one of these guys has one nightmare game in this series and gets the hook. But I think for 7 games, I'm going to take Lundqvist in that. But I think it's going to be a back and forth, just nasty series, and going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to go Rangers in 7. How about you?
Great minds think alike, bro. I like the Rangers in 7 as well. I'll just put it to you like this: the King will be king against the Kings. I think it's been an omen, and I think it's going to carry over. The road team winning the Game 7 there. I think it's going to happen once again. I think the Rangers are going to pull it off. Lundqvist has been great in Game 7s. I know Jonathan Quick is undefeated in Game 7s as we speak, but I think that streak is going to come to an end. I mean, something's got to give. They're both both great in Game 7, so there can only be one winner. And I think the Rangers are going to pull it off. And I like the way they're playing defensively as well. They shut down PK Subban. I think they're going to do the same thing to Drew Doughty. The Rangers have no problem getting physical with you. Stahl and McDonough are 2 tremendously aggressive defensemen. They're gonna come right at those guys. They're not going to back down from Kopitar or anybody else for that matter, Gaborik or whoever else you want to come at them with. Listen, the Kings are an excellent team. This is not going to be an easy series, which is why I'm picking it in 7. But I think the Rangers just have something. They're just that kind of team. I picked them against the Flyers. I picked them against the Penguins. I picked them against the Canadiens. And I'm going to stick with them all the way to the end. There's something about this team. Again, I don't want to use the term team of destiny or anything like that. but they're on, like Ruggs said, they're on this roll, and it just seems like no matter what happens to them, they don't get phased. They just play their game, and it just seems like they're so clutch. Like they're going to come up with a big goal. Even that Game 6 when it was 0-0 for a long time, I had no doubt in my mind that they were going to score a goal there. And when they scored that goal, I knew they were going to hold that lead. That's just the kind of team they are as we speak, and it's a kind of confidence, they carry with them. I like the Rangers here, and that's about it. That's all I got, okay? That's it. Hold me to it.
You got it, Zook. I'm going to because I also have them, so nowhere to hide from me. We're going to go to break here on All Noise Radio. When we come back, we're going to get into the other finals, the NBA finals, on the Zuki and Ruggs Show, All Noise Radio.
Have you been told that your breath smells like hot garbage? Do coworkers avoid you like the plague? Then you could be suffering from garbage breathalytis. However, no worries. For just 3 easy payments of $19.95, you can get Febreze breath spray. Just 2 squirts per day takes the garbage breath away. So get Febreze breath spray. We'll take the garbage out of your mouth.
Broadcasting around the globe. This is All Noise Radio. All Noise.
Back on the Zuki and Ruggs Show, and we're going to get into some round ball and the NBA Finals. It's that tip-off that summer's here. It's always in June. Weather's getting nice. You get the NBA Finals. In days gone by, it was Jordan, it was Bird, it was Magic. Now it's the era of LeBron James and the Miami Heat. But they got a test this time, just like they did last year, and maybe even more so, because the consistent ones, the ones who never seem to age or to die out in the San Antonio Spurs, they're back.
Yeah, and for the first time ever during their long run, they're back in the finals for they're in the finals for back-to-back years, and that's an amazing fact if you think about it. As dominant as the Spurs have been since 1999.
Absolutely.
This is the first time they're in the finals in consecutive seasons. It's the finals that needed to happen. It's like that a story was written last year, and there was an unresolute ending. There was no resolution. There needs to be an ending. There were a lot of unanswered questions left last year at the end of the NBA Finals. What if Tim Duncan was on the court? What if Kawhi Leonard makes a free throw? What if Ginóbili makes a free throw? What if? Or
any other shot. He was awful at the end of that series.
Right. Well,
but what if somebody gets and actually picks up Ray Allen on an out-of-bounds play?
What if Ray Allen doesn't make a miracle shot?
Yeah.
What if Ray Allen's toe was on the line, by an inch? So it was an amazing series last year. We all know what happened. The Miami Heat went on to win the NBA championship. This year, it's a rematch. It's going to be hyped up. NBA fans around the country are excited. I think this is the series that needed to happen. I know I picked against it all year. I was like fighting Destiny, and Destiny told me to shut up. And we're in for an exciting series. And LeBron James, what can you say? The guy right now is playing at another level. When you saw this kid come out of high school, when you saw him early on in Cleveland, especially in 2007 when he carried that feeble team to an NBA Finals, and that team was just a joke. And, of course, ironically enough, they were disposed of in 4 games by the San Antonio Spurs, who haven't won a title since, which is amazing in and of itself. It's been 7 years since this amazing, I don't want to use the term dynasty because they're really not a dynasty, but this, maybe they are.
They're just consistent to
but it's
another level. It's another level of consistency without necessarily being great.
Yeah, my point is that you saw that LeBron James, you knew he was going to be amazing, and this is the LeBron James everybody wanted to see. All the pundits that were killing him just 3 years ago when he lost the NBA Finals, or his team lost the NBA Finals. I shouldn't say just him, but everybody wanted to make it like he lost and no one else did, but nevertheless, now the same people that were burying him after the 2011 finals are kissing his ass, going into his 4th straight finals.
I know. I still remember the pundits killing him after the game in Dallas when he had the triple-double.
Yeah,
and they're like, what a loser LeBron is. I'm like, how would it?
Yeah, how does it go with a
triple? He just got a triple-double.
Yeah. Oh, he's too passive. Really? He's passive. Okay, now he's the greatest of all time. Oh, he's the greatest player since Jordan. Oh, yeah, okay.
You do want to see him step up and take those shots, and he's doing it more now. And you hit it right on the head. It was that Game 6 in Boston. Seemed to change everything. Now he wants to take those shots. I do agree with them back then. He was a little passive, but you can't blame him for not winning that Dallas series. That's just ridiculous.
No, you can't. But, hey, what's done is done. He's going for a three-peat. And,
and they're 4 straight years in the NBA Finals. That is incredible.
It's really flown by.
I know Boston did it in the 80s, but there wasn't the same kind of mega I mean, there was stars out there, but there was not these mega teams out there the same way that Boston had to get through. The East was
horrible,
fairly weak. I mean, you had Dominique and the Hawks. You had the Sixers were, still they were kind of on the twilight of the careers of Dr. J, Moses Malone, those guys. You had, I mean, one of their biggest rivals was the Bucks, for God's sake, Sidney Moncrief. I mean, that was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there was not huge until Detroit really picked up, and then the Bulls a little bit later. That was really when the Boston era ended. They didn't have a major road to get to the finals.
Agreed, but I mean,
same thing with the Lakers in the West. The Lakers kind of, waxed the West for the most part, in the playoffs.
Right.
In a similar fashion.
Right. I mean, hey, we could be subjective all we want. Let's be honest here. The Miami Heat's path to the NBA Finals was rather easy. I thought it'd be difficult. It was not. Of course, we could point to Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls were just not really being a non-factor this year, and the Pacers just, being bipolar. That allowed Miami to just cruise seemingly to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and Vogel will be back. I know we discussed it earlier in the playoffs
and he should be.
And he should be.
He should be. Good point, Ruggs. Good fact to throw in there right now, because that'll just end all the speculation. You hear the name Mark Jackson, yada yada. So it's good to see that Vogel be back. They have confidence in him, and I think it's the right thing. I mean, you can't kill him on it. The players, it's the players, bro. You could have any coach there. If the players are going to be head cases, what are you going to do? Now, conversely, I'll say that Scott Brooks is a guy who should be evaluated. But, looking at I just do not like the way Oklahoma City plays basketball. Ruggs, I'll say this. I mean, I know we're kind of previewing the NBA Finals here, but Oklahoma City, I think it's to the point right now, Ruggs, that
they may have to take it apart a little bit.
I think it's either Westbrook moves to the 2 or he moves from Oklahoma City. He changes his zip code.
Can you believe the fact that, he had numbers that are just mind-boggling.
They are.
And he still seems to be the problem.
Yeah. His basketball IQ is just really at a...
That shot he took at the end of Game 6 when they were down 3.
Inexcusable.
That was one of the worst executions you'll ever see.
Inexcusable. You cannot take a shot like that. I know they were down 4. It's a 3. But dude, you got 7 seconds. Listen, if he takes a charge, if he drives to the hoop and runs over Tim Duncan, I can live with that.
Exactly.
I can say, okay, the dude's trying to make a play, season on the line. He took it to the friggin' basket.
Trying to get fouled or something.
He ran over Tim Duncan.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Okay.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Right.
And if Durant takes that kind of shot because he can get that shot over people. No, I'm saying the same shot Westbrook took. He can get that shot over people. Yes. At least it's going to come close. Westbrook is just shooting in a sea of arms. He doesn't have the height and the length that Durant has to take a shot like that to basically hit the shot clock. Yeah. I think.
Unbelievable.
Terrible.
I will say this: Zuki knows what he's talking about. Hey, you like how everybody's killing Durant for getting guarded by small guys, as I did 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
love it. I'm like, man, I really know my stuff, but that's why you guys got to listen to this show. You're listening to these guys 4 weeks after the fact. We're saying this stuff a month
ahead of time.
Yeah, a month ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Zuki and Ruggs Show all day. But anyway, NBA Finals, it's going to be a good one. Spurs, Heat. It's a little early for predicting. Let's do it. What do you think, Ruggs? How do you see this series breaking down? Now we got to take into account one thing that's I guess maybe I'll start. One thing that scares me, as it scares you, I'm sure, Ruggs, is the Tony Parker injury. He says he's going to play game 1. I believe him. Usually when he says something, he does it. Last year in the finals, we remember he went into the finals and it was, can he even play? And he had a phenomenal finals. Tony Parker was off the charts last year in the NBA finals. He was amazing. He's one of him and Danny Green, no offense to Tim Duncan, but him and Danny Green are the reason they almost won that championship. They should have won the championship, but they almost won the championship. So, in my opinion, I think he's going to play. Will he be hobbled? Sure, but I think everybody's hobbled except LeBron at this point. How do you, taking that into account, Ruggs, what do you think, man? You think that's going to hurt them? You think that hampers the Spurs' chances of winning this series, or do you think Parker will be fine and they're going to go ahead and avenge last year's loss?
It is huge if he is hampered. I think he'll gut through it in the early part of the series, and then I think he'll get going. I don't think it'll be the reason that they either win or lose the series. I'm confident that Parker will be able to get through game. I mean, both of these teams have just some things working really strongly in their advantage going into this series, which makes this such a tough series to call. I love the way Wade and Bosh have been playing for Miami. They've just stepped up. This is what they wanted when they got the big three, is how they're playing now.
Yeah,
it's taken 4 years, but now they're all playing at that A level.
And that's scary.
And it's scary, and it makes it very hard to pick against this team. I love the fact that the series actually is in San Antonio's home court, because I think it makes it a little more spicy. Because I think if it was maybe that Game 7 in Miami again, you still think the Heat probably win it. But now if they go to 7, they got to do it on the road. It's a real test. Oh, I'm hoping it goes 7. I really am. I think that's going to be great.
I think it will, Ruggs. I think it will. It's destined, Ruggs. I feel it's like destined to go 7. There's no way it's going 5 or.
No, and I feel like such a fool. Like I'm just leaning to pick against the Heat, and this team is just playing like out of this world, like another level, another planet type of basketball, and everybody watching them is going to be like, how in the world, you got to be an idiot to pick against this team. I'll tell you one thing that San Antonio has in their favor, that one guy that's been playing great, and this was not a big pickup that a lot of people got all over, but Boris Diaw has been awesome.
Home run, Ruggs. And damn right.
He's one of those guys that might make the difference in this series, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
I know.
He was a Charlotte Bobcat, and
he was terrible.
And not doing anything.
Yeah, yeah. I've always been a big Diaw detractor. He's like one of my least favorite players in the league. Maybe because he's overweight. I just don't like.
And he kills. And when you ever had him in fantasy leagues in the past, like I have, he's just killed you. I mean, you can't wait to unload the guy.
I tell you a funny story. I was doing a draft like 4 or 5 years ago when he was in Charlotte, and this dude takes Boris Diaw like kind of early. I was like, Boris Diaw, he sucks. And one guy's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Boris Diaw is going to be the starter there, you idiot. I'm like, good luck with him, because he's a fat piece of crap and he sucks. I ended up winning that league, and I think that guy finished like in last. And I wrote him a nice little love letter.
And he was always a player rating was always way higher than he should have been.
Yes.
And people always took him over drafted him. But now he's refined his game. He's just, maybe it's the Popovich factor. He's got him knowing his role, playing in that system. Mm-hmm. But he's been a real difference maker.
The Spurs have always had guys like that. It always, and that's one thing you need in a championship team, bro. As you know, you need one guy off the bench and carry you. And it seems like the Spurs always get that kind of contribution from their team. Whether it was in the early 2000s, and as you're seeing now, as Ruggs so eloquently pointed out with Boris Diaw, it's just unbelievable. And sometimes I don't want to use the term luck for the lack of a better term, but sometimes you need a little luck in order to win these titles and, to sustain success for a long period of time in any sport. You need to find guys like this and for them to step up and contribute. And Ruggs, great point, man. See, again, this is why you got to listen to the Zuki and Ruggs show. Boris Diaw has really been tremendous for them. And Kawhi Leonard.
I was going to say, that was my next point. I'm going to let you go with this one because I think Boris Diaw's presence has let Kawhi Leonard do more of what he does best, taking the pressure off of him, letting him go out and be a true three. But, go on with that, Zoop.
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi Leonard's been tremendous, and it was culminated with that strip play on Russell Westbrook in Game 6, which was the decisive play, which really allowed the Spurs to wrap up that series in the Western Conference title. we knew Kawhi Leonard was a tremendous talent. Now he's starting to blossom right in front of our own very eyes. And we're seeing that Kawhi Leonard is not just a product of a great system. He's just a great player. And the Spurs, again, they find these guys. And that's how they've been able to sustain the success. They just find these guys in the draft. They got him relatively late in the first round. And the guy.
They did. A lot of teams passed on him.
Yeah.
And if he's to be fair, if he's in some other systems and on some other teams trying to be that number one guy, he probably doesn't have. It probably doesn't work out. But in San Antonio, I think he's...
When you're surrounded by that kind of talent, I'm sure
exactly.
it helps. It helps.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he was in Cleveland, he wouldn't be flourishing. But or Milwaukee. But he's been tremendous, and it's going to be a great series. To be honest with you, I really want to go with San Antonio. I have this feeling like they have to avenge last year. Like they have to win this series. It's almost like destiny. Like, what does Miami gain by beating San Antonio twice? It's almost like it's preordained for San Antonio to slash one last dragon. Like Tim Duncan needs to slash. He's got one dragon left to slay. I know he beat a younger LeBron on a bad Cleveland team.
Yep.
But it's like he's beaten the Mavericks. He's beaten all the great teams in the West. He's beaten the Lakers back in the day. They dethroned the Lakers in 2003 when the Lakers were going for the four-peat.
Mm-hmm.
He slayed all these dragons. It's like he's got one left. And then Tim Duncan go right off into the sunset, on his white horse. He can go away and with his fifth ring and say, you know what? I got no one left to beat. And maybe, just maybe I should be a Hollywood writer, but maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe it's almost like it's meant to be. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Tony Parker's going to gut it out and be great again. Danny Green, who looks like he's getting hot again, he was phenomenal at home in that Oklahoma City series, and he was great again in Game 6. He was nailing some big shots in Game 6. Maybe Danny Green, who had a great NBA Finals last year, gets hot again. Tim Duncan looks great. I mean, he's not the player he once was, but he don't look like he's getting that old to me.
No, not at all.
He looks phenomenal. Manu Ginóbili looks great as well. That team, they did look a little tired going into the finals. They don't look tired this year.
No, and a lot of people thought after last year Ginóbili might have been
retired.
Done. I heard a lot of people say he was done. That game's 6 and 7, especially 7, performance was so bad that there's no way he could recover.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it on the radio shows that they really thought Ginóbili should hang it up.
Yeah, I did too. I really thought Ginóbili should have retired too.
And
he looked really. I mean, he had a great.
He's making us have egg on our face.
Yeah, he had a great game 6. What, 5 or 5? I think it was a great game 5. And then after the last 2 games were dreadful.
And he really didn't have a bad game 6, but he missed that free throw that everybody remembers.
Yes.
And then he followed it up. A la John Starks when you go out there and just abort Game 7. Yeah. Everybody remembers that when you do it, and that's what happened.
He almost blew Game 6 against OKC. He missed that free throw that would have made him. It would have been 102.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
And that allowed OKC to tie the game.
Yep.
Yeah, he almost. I had to say it. So Ginóbili better start making some of these clutch free throws. But I like the Spurs here to go on and win this series. I'm going to go with them. It's like. I mean, my head, it's another one of these things, man. My head's telling me Miami. My eyes are telling me Miami. But it's like my heart is just saying it's almost like a Rangers situation. Same thing. Yeah. It's like I just think this team has got that kind of they got this kind of like, I don't want to say destiny. It's just they have this like they have this aura about them that they're going to win this series. They're going to win this championship. And I think from game 1 to now for the whole season, they've been the best team in the NBA. Oh, yes, they have been. They have been.
I'm going to also go with them, and my reason's probably even more ridiculous than – I mean, your reason has a lot of merit. This isn't the NHL. Game 7s go to the home teams. They always do in the NBA. I don't know why, but it's totally different.
Yes, you're right about that.
And like I said before, it's spicy because it's in San Antonio.
I agree with that. That's one thing I actually want. That's one reason I actually didn't give because you nailed it. And yeah, I mean, I do like the home court this year, and I'm fully convinced they were actually talking about this on the radio today. I heard other guys saying it, and I'm fully convinced if San Antonio had the home court last year, they would have won.
I think so too.
Yes,
I think so too. And then I'd be picking Miami this year for redemption because they would have come out this year with really PO'd, and I think they would have gone for that top record and and it could have changed everything. But like you said, it does matter. I think last year it would have given San Antonio, made the difference. This year, I'm going to say it does. I'll take the Spurs in 7. Again, even though you're picking against the Heat that are world beaters, but that's what we're here for. We don't come out to make the easy picks. We don't take the softballs, the layups.
That's right.
We go for real predictions, real analysis. And right now we're going to go for a real commercial. We'll be back on All Noise Radio.
Later.
Has this ever happened to you?
Flop the nut straight.
And then you felt like this?
All night, chick, he trapped me.
Are you thousands of dollars in debt? Have you ever bet on the Puppy Bowl?
Are you in too deep but have no intention of stopping?
Who are you going to call?
Gambling Enablers Anonymous.
Witness protection for gamblers. Gamblers. Some people may say you have an addiction to gambling, but we here at
Gambling Enablers Anonymous
believe you have every right to continue your hobby. We will provide you with a new identity to help you hide from those pesky IRS agents and loan sharks.
We also provide relocation services based on your preferred betting venues. Just listen to our satisfied customers.
I'm Steve Croft.
I'm Leslie Stahl.
I'm Bob Simon.
I'm Batman.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
So before you end up or call us.
Gambling Enablers Anonymous.
Witness protection for gamblers. Gamblers.
This is obviously not a real service, and if you thought it was, you are a total moron. Gambling Enablers Anonymous holds no legal responsibility for any dumb decisions you make, especially based on this commercial. Gambling is a risk, and if you consider calling us, we would advise you to seek psychiatric evaluation.
All Noise Radio, powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
I cannot believe this. This is the best news I've had all week.
And I know I can't live without my radio.
I'm sick to death of your mess and your noise.
And we're back on the Zuki and Ruggs Show. We're going to make a little radio history here on the Zuki and Ruggs Show and do our first ever segment on tennis.
Oh.
Because the French Open... I told you that's the wrong song. It's the wrong language. It's the wrong everything. But we do love tennis here at the Zuki and Ruggs Show. And don't tell us we don't get well-rounded and cover all the sports.
That's
we
right.
say all sports all the time. We say covering a wide variety of topics in the world of sports, and we mean it.
The damn right.
French Open. What happened? No Williams sisters?
I don't know.
No Roger Federer anymore? What? I mean, you still got Rafa, though. Mr. Nadal looking for number 9.
Unreal.
That's unreal.
Unreal, bro. Rafael Nadal is one of the best tennis players of all time. Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, this is probably the most obvious statement in tennis history. He's the greatest clay court player ever.
Yes.
I mean, it's nuts. I mean, wrap your head around this. He's going for his ninth French Open. It's not even like some people don't even have 9 wins on the tour ever.
9 tour wins, like you said, the 9 tour wins is
pretty good.
Is a top 25 type player.
Yeah,
that's millions in prize money. That's much less than half the field that can say that.
Yeah,
that they've won 9 tour events. He's got 9 French Open titles,
and
it's not like he never won anything else either.
Oh, right. He's got a bunch of Wimbledons and a U.S. Open. I mean, I don't have his history in front of me here, but
he's at least won once in every major. So
he's done
the career.
Has he won an Australian?
He did, I believe. Now you're making me question myself, but I believe he did win an Australian. But
anyway, he's phenomenal.
He did have the epic 7-hour final against
Federer.
In Australian against Djokovic.
Oh, that's right.
Early last year.
That's right. That
he did lose. So if he didn't win, he sure as hell came close because that was an all-time match. And then only to be, I mean, he's had 3 or 4 of those in his career, just absolute epic contests, win and lose against the other 2 of the big 3. And you can say it's big 4 if you want to throw Murray in there, who's also still alive. Djokovic is the other one, and Federer, who's out of the tournament. Ernesto Gulbis got him.
We know what happened with Roger against Gulbis. We all know what happened there, Ruggs. Come on. You know Natalie Gulbis was sitting front row. Dude, how's he supposed to play when you got one of the hottest women on the planet sitting front row? He was distracted. As a matter of fact, I think she should have been banned from Parlez-Vous court over there.
The way Federer is with his game, I think she could have been sitting there naked, and he doesn't.
No.
That's you. We're not talking about you playing, Zook. I know you would be like, you let the ball hit you right in the head on a bounce.
I'd be like 4. They'd be like, wrong sport.
But it's tough to get through the focus of Roger Federer. But he did go down, and, Father Time is what it is. He's still an elite level player. He's just a half a peg off that super top elite level perch now, and I think it's pretty much the exclusive real estate of Nadal, Djokovic, and Andy Murray's kind of the guy that's like standing on that fence there. He could either hit a big wave and go in and start winning more Grand Slams and jump into that top 3 elite guy, or he could, like he does when he's having difficult matches and he starts losing, start grabbing an ankle here, grabbing his calf, and all these mysterious injuries and, a little bit of, let's be honest, little British whining, and fall back into that next tier. He's kind of hard to figure out. He's got the game. There's no doubt about it. Best return of server maybe on tour right now. And a lot of people say, perhaps since Agassi, as far as his return of service, great forehand, does all the, and he's a guy that, even though I make fun of him about maybe, some of his toughness, perhaps, he's at every event. He's not a guy that's missed any length of time. I mean, you've had Nadal just goes like, he's one of those guys like the running backs that have short careers. He just goes balls out every match, and then has these, it pays the price. I mean, his body takes its toll, and he needs to, have 3 or 4 months off to recover from, a meniscus tear or a, torn labrum, or all these things he's had in his career, these shoulder injuries, knee injuries, elbow injuries, all kinds of stuff that he's had over his career because he goes so all out. Whereas Murray, a little more of the, the English reserve, but he's a plotter. He's a guy that's always at every event, plays as much tennis as anybody in the course of a year. And then, you got Federer and Djokovic, who seem to be made of, titanium or something, because they never miss any time and they play every event too. So, the men's game, it's kind of down to really still those 4 guys. The French Open, you still got 3 of them left. I'm still picking Nadal to win this thing for the 9th time. He's got there's a little back issue, maybe a back twinge he suffered. Unless it's ripped out, unless he's projectiles of his vertebrae are coming out on the court, it's not going to stop him from giving it 100%. And on clay,
43-6 on clay.
Yeah, I was going to say 90 or 85 even percent of him on clay. I'll take him.
Yes, he's phenomenal. And to answer, he has won an Australian Open.
I thought he had one.
Yeah, he did. He did win one. 13 Grand Slam championships. That's 8 of which are the French Open.
Think of what we think of Tiger Woods and he's got him by 1 or 2, right? Because Woods is 11 or 12, I believe, for golf majors.
Well, Woods is at 14.
Oh, is he at 14? I don't know why I thought he was only at 11.
That's all right. Yeah.
But, I mean, all right, so he's in that, and people think of Tiger Woods, and it's like, that is the guy in golf.
Nadal's 1 away from tying Rod Laver, who had the most Grand Slams for forever.
And I never thought that would be touched.
Yeah, and then Federer, we know, of course, has trampled that, and now Nadal is doing the same thing.
Down.
So it's pretty remarkable. He is, like you said, Ruggs, as you said so eloquently about Nadal. I admire the guy. When he first came out, I thought he was kind of annoying. This little, prim and proper little Spaniard boy. I was like, oh god,
because he's soft spoken. And, it's kind of tough. A lot of people don't know how to take him, but
he's a lefty. I'm like, ugh, pretentious little left-handed.
Right here, buddy. Right here. I'm giving my left.
I'm Rafael Nadal. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to win. Thank you. I'm like, oh God, just biting the trophy. I'm like, oh, shut up. But now, I've learned, as usual, you watch a guy long enough, and you come to appreciate his greatness, and then you watch him play, and you're like, he doesn't play like a little boy. This guy plays like a man, and he is a man's man. And he's one of the best. I've been watching tennis for a long time, Ruggs, ever since I was a young kid. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I remember Andre Agassi when he had the long flowing locks, as you do, I'm sure. I remember Pete Sampras, Jim Courier, all those guys. Man, that was, of course.
That was when Americans still kind of dominated men's tennis.
Right. John
long time ago.
John McEnroe in his latter years, Yvonne Lendl, Jimmy Connors. Remember all those guys, man. And, those were the great years, of course with the short shorts. But, and, even the female tennis back in the day, with Steffi Graf and Monica. I still remember when Monica Seles got stabbed. I remember I was at my grandmother. I remember that day like I'll never forget that day when she got stabbed. So, believe it or not, Zuki and Ruggs have been watching tennis for a long time. And Rafael Nadal is, I want to say he's the third best player I've ever seen. And he's right there with Sampras, man. I know they're different players. It's hard to compare. Sampras was a power player.
Absolutely different.
Whereas Nadal is just a great return serve. I mean, he can serve the damn ball too. He fires that ball, and especially left-handed. It's hard to really pick it up sometimes. That serve can really get you. His backhand is just, oh my God, when he goes to that back, he's just, and you think you can stretch the court. He covers, I will say this, I think he's the best player I've ever seen cover the court.
He does. He gets to every ball. You're right. Great call.
He's phenomenal with that, man, and he's remarkable. And I'm with you, Ruggs. I know it's just so cliche and such garbage, and anyone can say this. I know, and I'm sorry, but until someone beats this guy, I know he had a stretch where he didn't win the French Open. He won. He had a stretch after 2008 where he didn't win it. Now he's won it again. But I mean, it was only like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, he took 2 years off.
Yeah.
And when Federer got his one
win,
and
exactly.
Then he had an injury in the other one. That was right. When he didn't win the other one.
That's right. Until someone can knock this guy off head to head, toe to toe, man up, face this guy on clay and beat him, I can't pick against him. 43-6 on clay. Jesus Christ. You can't make that up. It's remarkable. So I always love the clay court tournaments. I like the French Open a lot. We'll see what happens. The girls is kind of the girls.
Yeah, this is when it's interesting because there is really
no Serena.
With no Serena, there's not a dominant player out there, and even Serena on clay, it's not her dominant surface.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
So she's vulnerable, and as you saw, she got bounced early. But
yeah, right.
She's vulnerable on clay when she is playing well.
Right.
Something was just off with her game in that second round match when she got bounced. I'll go consistency here because I think in this tournament, the clay, it's a grueling surface to play on. It wears on you.
Oh, yeah.
You want the consistency of someone who's done it for a long time. I mean, she's certainly not showing signs of age or anything. She doesn't look any less appetizing than she always has. But I'm going Maria Sharapova to win this thing. That's my pick.
Yeah, it's a good one. You never know these girls. It's kind of hard to pick against her as well
because there's a lot of youth out there that can knock her off. But
there is. I just don't know enough about any of them. As we said off air, I think Azarenka is kind of a head case, as you said. I'd like to pick her, but I don't think she's going to do it either.
Yankovic is still in there, who's a top 10 player, has been for a long time. Never has won anything, though.
Yeah, it's
this Simone Halep, who's this rising star. Let me see you win a Grand Slam title first.
Yeah, is she ready for that stage? You never know.
Yeah,
women, it's tough with women. Sometimes these women come out of nowhere and do win these tournaments, though. Remember Maria Sharapova, I think it was 2005, when she won Wimbledon at 17.
Yep.
So sometimes these women, these young girls, they do that. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm leaning towards Sharapova just by default. I no disrespect to her. She's a tremendous player, but just think,
And there's another dark horse here because just somebody who's, speaking of dinosaurs, she's probably like 31 or 32, but Svetlana Kuznetsova.
Yeah,
who's
been around for
multiple
a long time.
Grand Slam titleist, who is I don't know what she does. I know, you've seen the examples of this in other sports. She never gets highly ranked. I mean, she's had a couple of periods where she's been a top 10 player, but she's always like ranked in the 20s or 30s or out of the seeding. So she comes up as a dark horse, and she's won multiple titles. She must do nothing in the rest of the year and just let her stock just plummet down and just take all this time off and then come back for the Grand Slams, because she's always involved and a factor in these Grand Slams, and her ranking is always terrible. And you're always like, she's always picking off top players early in the tournament, and you're like, why is she playing them in the third round? It's because she's ranked like 35th or 36th. She should be a top 5 player for all the titles she's won. I think she just takes the rest of the year off.
I don't get it.
I've never
either.
figured that out with her.
Me neither. She's totally just a dark horse. You can't really figure her out. Well said, Ruggs. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, she beat
she just nipped
Safarova. She beat some girl.
It was a top, I believe, one of the high seeds in the tournament. She just bounced her.
Yeah, Safarova. Yeah, 6'3", 6'4".
So,
we know Sloane Stephens got bounced today.
Yeah, she was the one American hope still left, and I didn't realize that she had earlier today had just been bounced. So kiss that goodbye.
Yes, I mean, it's a fun tournament. We'll all start getting into it. This coming week. Now you start getting down to the nitty gritty. You start getting rid of the watered down talent that's left around there.
Yeah, you got
and then you get down to the court. You get down to the big players there. Yeah, it's a good time. We're getting to that year. That time of year. We know that Wimbledon's around the corner. Wimbledon's only a few weeks away. Tennis is awesome this summer. It's a sport that gets lost in the shuffle, but I thoroughly enjoy watching Wimbledon, and of course we all know the big deal around here, which we'll definitely get into, is the U.S. Open when that time comes in August.
The U.S. Open.
Love it.
Great time of year.
I would go if I could afford a ticket.
Yeah, I know. We do a live show right from there if we could.
I would actually. I love the U.S. Open.
Go to one of those night sessions and get a little, the chants get going. It's not like any other atmosphere. And
it is really
tennis.
Cool. It is really.
That's
cool.
the one thing that's cool about Grand Slam tennis is every one of the 4 events is so different. They're great each in their own right, and they're just completely different. Different surfaces, different kind of crowds, different players really that are in contention. I mean, the great ones can win any of them. Some players are just, I remember like Gustavo Kuerten. Remember him? He was a clay court master, and then he'd go out to Wimbledon and couldn't get out of the first round.
Get out of the first round. That's right. Kuerten. That's right.
But he was a fan favorite. Even he did okay at the U.S. Open, so they loved him there. He never won it, but he.
That's right. You always get
those specialists.
Yeah,
you get a guy, and that's one thing that I really admired about Nadal. To go back to him for another minute, is he was a clay court specialist that just did not give up, just persisted and worked on his game, and he beat the best grass court player perhaps of all time in Roger Federer on that surface in an epic final to win that first Wimbledon title, and then since followed it up with another one.
He's won on every surface, man.
Yeah,
he's won on every surface there is.
That's and similarly, Federer did not give up the clay. They're telling you cannot win on this surface. You will never win on this surface. He just kept plotted, and 1 year, this guy Robin Soderling in the semifinals picked off Rafael Nadal.
That's
and
right.
He said, "This is my time," and he went out and polished him off and won his French Open. So
that's right.
It can be done if you
work hard enough.
And that's that's the greats, the ones who can win, who can be all surface players.
It's funny about this tournament. It's so weird. I just have this feeling like he's not going to do it, Nadal, but I think he's going to. It's so weird. I think when you see a guy win so much, you're like, this is the year he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
I wonder if this year is going to be the year. That's what's so intriguing about it. Like, will this finally be the year that he doesn't do it? And that's why I think that's the reason that sparks my interest so much.
Because you got capable guys, and it's always he never makes it. It's never easy. He always has an epic kind of match in there. So that's he always has a one or two of those in an event, but he finds a way to get it done and pull them out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and so you do not want to miss next week's show because we're gonna know what happened in the French Open.
That's right.
We're going to know what's going on in the NBA and NHL finals. They're going to be underway. We'll know maybe which way we're leaning. Probably we won't know either because they'll probably be dead even and we'll still be in the same boat.
Yeah.
But you still do not want to miss the next Zuki and Ruggs Show next week.
That's right. We got the Belmont.
And we're going to talk the Belmont Stakes.
That's right.
California Chrome's bid.
For the Triple Crown.
You got it. And a great field, though. I mean, a lot of the good horses from the Derby that took the Preakness off are back.
Yeah.
And there's some newbies in the field. It's going to be he's going to be a stacked deck against California Chrome. He's going to have to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, we'll see.
And we're going to rise to the occasion next week on the Zuki and Ruggs Show. But for tonight, for this week, we'll bid you adieu from Stratford, Connecticut at All Noise Radio. Good night, everybody.
Peace out.
All Noise Radio. Like Flavor said, I tell these songs to kill the noise.
Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
The noise you can ignore.
Pay attention!
All Noise Radio, powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Oh, behave.
Yeah, baby!